So why should you get out and vote? In Canada, we're about to have an election, and I was just having a conversation with somebody who said that they weren't going to vote. And this isn't a go vote for one party or the other thing. I firmly believe that you should vote for who you believe you should vote for, not based on my opinion or anything else. You should vote for somebody that you believe in. But here's why I think you should vote. So let's take the population of North America, 380 million. Well, Canada and the United States, 380 million and change. So let's round this up to 400 million for easy math. Now, if everybody in North America, every one of those 400 million people, were to grow a single tomato plant, which is entirely doable. Tomato plants, you can grow them in a little pot. And let's say each one of those tomatoes grows 1 pound of tomatoes. So that's 400 million pounds of tomatoes in a single year grown by individuals. And each individual takes minutes or less per day to take care of this tomato. So then they're not going to be spraying them with chemicals. So these will be organic tomatoes. So now let's take those organic tomatoes and we go to the grocery store and look at the average grocery store prices. And let's say right now probably about $4 per pound for organic tomatoes. A little higher, a little lower, but let's say that's the average. So 400 million times $4 per pound is what? $1.6 billion with a B, billion worth of tomatoes grown by individuals. And no one person who grew those tomatoes did a lot of, a massive thing. Like each individual growing those tomatoes wasn't a huge show, but the net result of all of those tomatoes being grown is a $1.6 billion hit in the tomato market. And you can bet if there was $1.6 billion change in any market, that would be noticed by corporations and by government. Now, I personally believe that both governments and corporations have a vested interest in making sure that you don't do this because of lost tax revenue and lost corporate revenue because of selling tomatoes. Why does this correlate to voting? If 50% of the population doesn't vote, then the mandate is dictated by the vocal people. And let's say half of them are split. And so we have half of these vocal people are right-wing and half of these vocal people are left-wing. So that means 25% of the population is dictating right-wing politics and 25% of the population is dictating left-wing politics. And so this results in a false mandate for the people who are elected, because the people who are participating are the people who are passionate about it. And these people typically aren't, I don't want to say they aren't the middle ground people, but typically they are the people who are more in the extremes, the people who have something to fight for because it's not currently happening for them. And so this results in politics being governed by even if you have a majority government, the politics are being dictated by the minority. And now, so going back to our tomatoes, if suddenly everybody in Canada or everybody in whatever nation I'm talking about suddenly votes, how large of an impact is that? It's not, it's exponentially larger on a grand scale than it is for the individual person. So that's where, personally, there's two things that I think everybody should do. I think everybody should vote. Because if everybody votes, then the government has a clearer mandate of what they should be doing. Second of all, I think everybody should grow some tomatoes because it has an empowering effect and it makes a statement. If you don't do those things, if you don't vote, if you don't grow a tomato, you are disempowering yourself. You are willfully giving up a portion of your self-control and your ability to be a free agent for yourself. And the reality of it is, if you don't take control of your life, then somebody else will. So the question is then, are you the hero in your life story, or are you a supporting character in your life story?